Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Mossallam. I am your host for Beyond the Highlights, along with my co-hosts Vern, Lundquist, Crump, and the voice of Spartan Football and Spartan Sports Network, Jason Strayhorn. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing great.
Good. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah.
Summer been fun.
It's been great.
It's been a great summer.
Yeah,
Gearing up for football.
We are.
We are that time of year.
It is. You know, it's when you just start reading and watching all the different camps, NFL opening and college opening, and now high school. Yeah. High school football kicks off today, where optimism is at an all-time high at all of our local schools, and it's just an exciting time.
Very exciting time for the MHSAA.
Yeah,
we got some new rules in place.
Yeah, trying to put a limit on some time limits on the amount of time that the kids practice. They're out there in helmets right now and checking the heat index, make sure there's no exhaustion or overheating from the kids. So they're paying particular attention to that this year.
I think there's been an emphasis on health and wellness with the concussion, all the publicity that's been made about concussions and stuff. And
absolutely,
I believe now you're only allowed one hitting session and 2-a-day sessions.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Water breaks at a maximum. Optimal water breaks.
Water breaks. I mean, you see that coming in from the NFL new collective bargaining agreement a couple of years ago. It's trickling down. It's definitely been in college football. We've seen that, where they've been limiting the amount of 2-a-day practices, and now in the high school level, they're doing the same thing. I know some older coaches, like I read in the paper about Tom Mack at CC. He's not too happy about that, but you got to get with the program now. These kids are going to be fresher. They're trying to preserve their bodies, their brains, everything for a long-term career outside of the sport, even more importantly. So these guys are not going to be able to run these guys into the ground.
Yeah, we're having more and more unfortunate incidents. Like it seems like we're having that more and more. So checking the heat and just making sure kids are doing the right thing out there and making sure coaches are doing the right thing is very important.
But that's an interesting point, though. You said Coach Mack at Catholic Central was talking about, for high school kids getting reacclimated to football and going through technique and practice. Mm-hmm. That really limits the teaching in high school. Like, I agree with NFL. They don't need to be hitting every day, even in college. Once a day. I mean, players are just so used to playing the game, but this is really going to affect, I believe, getting these kids ready at the high school level. But I mean, hey, safety is number one.
That's right. I mean, his point, to your point, was that how can I teach these guys if they're not hitting? But there are other drills you can do with just your helmet to learn how to play heads up. That's the whole terminology now. Everybody's talking about heads up football, and to protect these kids' spinal cords and their brains. So they're going to have to deal with it.
So we got some local fall sports kicking off here for the boys and girls. You got football, you got cross country, soccer and tennis for boys. You got volleyball, tennis, swimming, golf, and cross country for girls. Football, how's Crestwood? How's Robichaud going to be in football this year?
Robichaud's going to be pretty good. Got a nice young group of kids coming in. We graduated a lot last year, so I would say we're young and talented. Should be pretty fast. But they're going to have to grow and mature a little bit.
I know Crestwood has a bunch of kids coming back. They got high hopes over there. The big one there is heading to Fortson September 12th. Everybody in the
How's Fortson looking?
I think Fortson's looking pretty good. Fortson's got some good skill guys. They've done well at some passing camps over the year. They got 2 kids. One kid, Abdullah Jafal's committed to Ball State, and then the other Sabal kid's going to Central Michigan. So we got some D1 kids, and like Fortson, expectations are high, like it always is.
Brady Hoke's old stomping grounds down there in Muncie, Indiana, Ball State.
There it is, Brady Hoke.
What's the schedule looking like for Fortson? They play a competitive schedule.
They do. I think they open up going to Bedford, then they play a team from Canada and Ontario, and then. They do play. See, the problem is with a team like Fortson, it's hard to schedule games. Nobody wants to play them, quite frankly. I mean, when you have a tradition-rich program, it's hard. The flip side is you have to go play in Ontario to kind of get the non-league games. It's hard, so they have to play De La Salle. They're going to play De La Salle again.
Wow.
And then I believe they're also playing Monroe this year, which Monroe's not in the league, right?
No.
They used to be in the league.
Yeah,
so
used to be in the Mega.
I'm sure we'll have more as the show progresses in the fall when it comes to high school sports, and talk a little bit more about the different players and the different games and different sports. It's August right now, so.
And we got a crosstown rivalry coming up with in October, actually on the 10th, with Robichaud in Annapolis. So, I'm sure the community will be geared up for that.
Oh yeah, that's. I'm telling you, high school football
Nothing like it.
It's so much fun, you know.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that first weekend kicks off, I believe, that Thursday, August 28th. And, you know, high school football was meant to play. Do they play night games over at Robichaud and Crestwood as well?
Yeah,
I mean, are
do.
all the schools in the area playing on Friday nights?
They are now. Robichaud was the last school to get lights, and I want to say it was three years ago we were able to get lights.
So that's the way high school football should be played.
Should be Friday
night lights.
Although college is starting to encroach on that Friday night. You're starting to see more college games on a Friday night.
NFL's Thursday night.
You know. And speaking a little bit about college football, Michigan State opened up camps.
Yes.
Big year for Brady Hoke at Michigan. They
Huge year.
Dave Brandon says this is not a make or break year. I think that.
You believe that?
Do I believe that is not a make or break year? Well,
don't answer that.
Right. Don't answer that.
It just depends on what their record is, I guess. You know,
it's always a make or break year.
They you know, the fan base in Ann Arbor expect excellence.
Oh, yeah.
What they're used to. That Michigan has great tradition when it comes to football, and let's just say another 7-6 season. You know, there's not going to be too many happy folks over there. So I think Michigan has to improve on the offensive line, has to improve on their physicality. And if Devin Gardner can cut down on some of the mistakes, I think they're going to be right there come November, December. So
they're searching for cohesion on that offensive line. They lost 2 draft picks, Taylor Lewan and Schofield. Both went first round, second round, and the offensive line, let's face it, wasn't that good last year. So now you've got to replace 2 draft picks and somehow be better. They're looking for, you know, some kind of togetherness is what I read a couple of the players talking about. They got to find something. You know, starts from the top. You know, Brady Hoke obviously has to be involved there, but the offensive line coach has to demand more out of his players to get on the same page so they can protect a guy like Devin Gardner.
So the offensive coordinator, though, at Michigan was at Michigan State.
Yeah,
came in from Alabama. Coach Nussmeier, great guy. Great coach. And how do you think he's going to play in first year over there in Ann Arbor?
I think he's going to be great. I know he's simplifying things, making it fun for the guys. He's a great mentor for quarterbacks. He's a great guy, as we know.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
So I can only expect them to be better than they were last year, seeing as I think they were ranked 102nd out of 103 teams in some of the passing categories on offense. They're going to improve from that, obviously. One thing they're going to have to do to protect Devin Gardner is get a running game. Right now, it's kind of up in the air who the running back's going to be. I think they have Drake, who's returning from an injury. They got Green, who came in as the big-time recruit, who hasn't really caught that spark yet. So we'll see what happens.
But you know as well as I do, the offensive line doesn't block. It doesn't matter.
Don't matter who's back there. That's true.
Absolutely relevant. The game's won up front, you know.
Absolutely.
East Lansing, confident, coming off a Rose Bowl season.
Yeah.
Never seen Michigan State's program and coaches and players and everybody around the program so confident, so excited.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Michigan State for us since you're up there.
Michigan State, I mean, they got a lot of momentum right now. Connor Cook, the quarterback, is really processing a lot of information fast. He's getting the ball out quick. Offensive line, all those guys are on the same page. They return everybody pretty much on offense except for Benny Fowler. The receivers are making great plays. I was able to see a bit of their first scrimmage this Saturday, and that defense, I mean, that front seven looks SEC-like. Very fast. From an athletic standpoint, I don't see any drop-off. I think in a lot of areas there's an upgrade athletically. It's about finding that leadership. Who is going to take the bull by the horns to be that vocal leader? Right now, it's the whole team is talking. It's very loud, a lot of communication on the defensive side of the ball. Coach D'Antonio, I've never seen him this intense at practices. He's in the middle of drills. He's very focused. He doesn't, come by and say hello to people on the sideline. He's involved. He's blowing whistles and yelling at guys, which means that he's making a statement to everybody on that team is that
we're not going to
drop off.
This is not going to be a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
I heard that their winter conditioning was the absolute toughest, most brutal winter they've had since he's been there, and that was to send the message that we are not going to rest on our laurels. And we're not going to drop off. And
that's right.
Coach, I mean, he sets the tone. He sets
does.
the tone on down. He's kept a cohesive staff.
He talks about that all the time now. When he does his interviews, it's the first thing he says. We're intact. Our staff is intact.
You know what's amazing about Coach D, and because we're a little bit closer to the program, we get to experience it, is his temperament and personality was the exact same way after the South Florida game as it was after the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just always even keel. It's unbelievable, because your team, your team takes on your personality.
It really does.
He didn't hit the panic button, and after the Rose Bowl, he's like, never get too high and you never get too low. And that is the most remarkable thing that I find about him. It's amazing that he just is able to just channel all his energy.
Yeah.
Very consistent.
Absolutely. You think back when we played at Michigan State, there was always new coaches coming and going. It seemed like, even though we played for, Coach Perlis and then Nick Saban, there was every year it seemed to be 2 or 3 new coaches because of the attrition. I don't know, they would get better jobs. But these guys, they don't want to coach for anybody else. They want to play and coach underneath Coach D'Antonio, and that says a lot.
That says a lot. Yeah. Hey, let me ask you guys a question about some matchups. Michigan State versus Ohio State, Michigan versus Ohio State. What do you guys think about that this year?
Well, I think, first Michigan State's got a tough week 2 heading to Oregon. Outson Stadium, top 5 program.
Yeah.
We're going to find out real quick how good Michigan State is.
It's a state-of-the-art offense against a state-of-the-art defense.
Fascinating matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup.
Quite frankly, a type of offense we don't play real well against, kind of, running around the edges and all kinds of really quick and fast and speed. And misdirection stuff. So we're going to really be tested. Now,
on the other side, flip side of that, the team who's had the most success against Oregon is Stanford. And Michigan State and Stanford are kind of carbon copies.
Disciplined defense.
Yeah, very physical, disciplined defense, ball control offense.
Yes.
So we'll see, because Oregon's had trouble with those kind of matchups.
Because they force you to go 12, 13 plays. Oregon's offense is a quick strike. They're not used to being methodical, moving down the field.
Right.
So Stanford forced Oregon to make mistakes, to be more patient, which plays into their strong. So we'll see. I think we're going to be competitive against every team we play, as of right now. And I think Michigan's going to be competitive. I think Michigan's going to be right there. I think Michigan has a pretty weak home schedule. They do go on the road, I believe, at Notre Dame, at Michigan State, and at Ohio State. So those are 3 tough road games with a pretty, weak home schedule. If Michigan can split, take maybe 1 or 2 of those 3 games and win out, Michigan could win 9, possibly 10 games very easily.
Any bold predictions?
No, I'm not going to get into that just
yet. We're going for Michigan State's going. Michigan State's going 14-0. We're going for the playoff. I mean, we don't play the game to lose now. Whenever every game you asked us,
looking for
Dallas. We're going to win.
Right.
So
there you go.
I never thought we were going to lose. So,
and that's my honest opinion.
Let's talk a little Detroit Tigers. Switching gears here. 19th inning yesterday, lost another one. Yeah. Picked up David Price. Thought we have the answer. Royals have won 14 out of 17.
Yeah, when you take David
half
a game ahead of the Royals now in the AL Central. You have David Price, great left-hander. He's at 7 innings. He's starting to get hit a little bit, but you're up 5-0, 5-0 at that point. I don't think it's a bad move to pull him out of the game. Brad Ausmus got kicked out of the game for complaining about the strike zone, which was a little wide. But then the bullpen, they just struggled. It was 5-0 going into.
Soria's on the DL.
Yeah.
Who else did they put? Sanchez. So they put Sanchez and Soria on the DL.
Yeah, 15-day.
Don't be surprised if this comes down to the wire.
Oh, man.
And if the Tigers don't make the playoffs, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. Because all year they have not addressed this bullpen issue.
Yeah.
All year it has not been fixed.
It is not.
And it doesn't matter. You might be able to stay in a weak AL Central. You might be able to stay in or even up 3, 4, 5 games, but if you're going to go to the playoffs where every pitch counts, right? Weak bullpen
matters.
Weak closer, with all due respect.
Maybe I don't know. We have the last 3 Cy Young Award winners. Maybe one of them, I don't know, if JV doesn't get his stuff going, I mean, maybe he goes to the bullpen in the playoffs.
It's possible. I mean,
slight possibility.
That's what we pay you the big bucks for. Come up with the solution. Come up with the answer here.
Right, I'm a baseball expert.
Yeah, I know. None of us are.
Sure.
So, switching gears once again to, I thought was kind of interesting is that the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, that was great.
Was flipping over to basketball just for a topic. Was San Antonio did something that has it ever happened before?
Not in the NBA.
Not in the NBA.
This is the first women's NBA coach ever. Becky Hammond.
So Greg Popovich hires an assistant female coach, the first woman female coach in the NBA.
Right.
Talk about being a trailblazer, and talk about saying that it's about time, huh?
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah, I think he set a major example with that. It's been like an ongoing process. We had a Division I female coach. Her name was it Becky Hammond? No, Becky Hammond is the one we're talking about now, but Bernadette Maddox over at Kentucky, and also at Tennessee State had a first Division I head coach.
Tennessee
who was
State?
A female, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Tennessee State. So this has been an ongoing thing, and now we're here. So it's a great thing.
Yeah,
but it's funny because women's college basketball, you have legends like Patty Summitt.
Yeah.
And then, God, that Baylor coach is pretty good. I forgot her name, but
Yeah.
it's funny that it's always been fine to have a women's basketball head coach for women's sport, okay, and have men's head coach for a women's sport as well.
Yeah.
Right.
But you never ever saw the other way where you would see a female head coach for men's basketball.
Right. I think
So
it's
now-
just part of the process. You know, first there was female officials, right? That's been going on for over 5 years at least.
At least 5. Yeah,
Now,
maybe
and
10.
they have to condition the players to be able to respond to women. I mean, we're probably going to have a female president soon, so why not have a female basketball coach?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
I think it's great. It's
Right.
absolutely great. I tell you, there are some women that know more about football than I do. So
That's true.
I mean, there's a lot of
Hey,
women.
say
And
too
some of
much.
the best coaches too. I mean, you talk about Pat Summitt at
Legend.
Tennessee. I mean, she's a legend. And,
Yeah.
You know, and me as a basketball coach, I go to her videos a lot to get different tips and things like
Oh,
that.
really?
as
Yeah.
coaches. So, yeah,
She's legend.
great.
How's she feeling? She got sick, didn't she?
A little Alzheimer's.
Little Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
She kind of went into. It's been very private. Her life's moved
Yeah.
over to become a lot more private. We don't really
Yeah.
see a lot from her, but
Yeah, but she's
too
one of the
bad.
best.
legendary coach, absolutely legendary coach. So, switching gears over to golf, we saw Rory McIlroy won his second major of the year, 4th overall, 25 years old.
Wish I could swing it like that.
I can.
I'm learning.
You're learning.
I can. It just takes too much time.
Yeah, the third.
I don't have 4 hours to spend on a golf course,
Right.
you know. So,
Well, if you were
I feel
that
the
good,
same
you'd
way.
probably figure out a way.
if I was that good making a
If
living,
you spent
doing
4 hours, you'd be that good, though, right?
Yeah.
I would. It would
mean-
take me 4 hours a day.
Yeah, they scratched him a $1.8 million check for that yesterday. You know,
And he caught the trophy, didn't it fall? And he caught the top of the trophy. Did you see that? They
No, I
had
didn't.
the cup,
Oh, man.
and he dropped it, and he grabbed, and he caught the
it was
top
so
of the.
dark out there.
Yeah, he caught the top of it. But how impressive is that young man, huh?
Very
25 years
impressive.
old.
Yeah. There was a funny finish because they had such a long rain delay out there in Louisville, Kentucky, at Valhalla. Roy McIlroy now becomes the third youngest player to reach 4 majors all time, behind Tiger Woods and the legend Jack Nicklaus. So he's on pace to do great things. I mean, obviously Nike gave him the big contract. He's doing commercials now, and this is a kid from Ireland. He's not a local kid, American, so to speak, but I mean, he's playing lights out right now. They actually had it at the end of the final round where him and Phil Mickelson, there was 2 guys, they played like kind of a foursome to finish because they were racing against darkness. And you would hear,
I didn't pay attention to that.
yeah, at the last hole he had, he just had 2 putts to win it. And Nick Faldo, who does the commentating, was saying, if I was him, I would stop right now and do it tomorrow, which
Really?
I'm sure would have thrown the networks in a tailspin, right? To have to start over a whole nother day for him to do 2 putts. But he finished it out in the darkness and got his 4th trophy.
So how many majors does Tiger have? 7?
No, Tiger's at 13.
13?
Yes.
And Jack's at how many?
17, 18. He's up there.
What happened to Tiger? Is he still hurt?
Well, yeah, he got hurt again.
Hurt his back.
He hurt his back. He's coming back from back surgery, and last week in a tournament, Bridgestone, he jumped down into a bunker and tweaked his back again. He had to stop play, and he tried to gut it out in this tournament for the PGA Championship and didn't make the cut for Saturday. So he's having a tough go at things. A lot of surgeries.
He's trying to make another team, too, as well, right?
The Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And, well,
So
Tom Watson, the coach, has said it's up to Tiger.
Okay.
He's not going to cut him.
Yeah.
But it's up to him.
Sure, because of he just has world appeal and
Yeah.
still got 13 majors. And
Yeah.
how old's Tiger now?
38, right?
Yeah, you wonder,
Yeah.
what they,
He's just now fallen behind the pace of Nicklaus.
I was going to say, 5
Just
years
now.
ago, they were talking
Oh, he
about
was
him
ahead.
and shattering
Yeah.
Jack Nicklaus's records. And now, see, golf is just, such a psychological.
Yeah.
Your whole life, your private life, everything you do will affect your golf game, because it's just so mental and it's so psychological.
That's right. You can't hide. It's just you. You can't blame the guard. You can't blame the defense. It's you.
It's the greatest thing about football. Greatest thing about football when I played is I never missed a block. Yeah, but golf, it's you. You can't blame it. Wrestling, it's you.
It's you.
Right.
That's true. There's a lot of good track and field, same thing.
Can't blame anybody else. Football, wasn't me.
You can hide.
Oh, it's all the time. So
you missed that dunk. Whose fault is it?
That's Coach's fault.
So back to the NCAA for a minute. So the Ed O'Bannon case has gotten some publicity. NCAA, the courts have come out and ruled that the NCAA has violated antitrust laws, and that they can't use the images and likeness of college athletes. And I think I even saw something where some type of settlement would be a maximum of $5,000 per kid put in a trust fund per year till they left.
Yeah.
And they could get it at the end when they left. Now, I don't know if they have to graduate to get that, or what are the details with that.
Right.
A lot of it's still unclear, all the details.
The lawyers are still pouring through the documents.
Yeah, but
10 years ago, who would have ever thought this would happen?
I know.
But it's a major step. I mean, it's a major step forward for his cause.
Just for the kids in general.
Yeah.
Kids in general.
We're going to see so much change in the next 5 to 10 years in college sports. It's going to be a lot of rapid change because not only did they rule with the Ed O'Bannon case, but the NCAA also voted for the 5 major conferences to have autonomy and vote and have govern themselves.
Yeah, well, right? I mean, it's no coincidence that those two happened.
Right.
I mean, you're the big 5 power conferences. You're the 65 most powerful teams, most profitable teams. Pretty much your football and your basketball are in the black. And, you need rules to mirror each other. And it's hard for, Michigan State or Michigan to have to follow the same set of rules as, Wright State or Cleveland State when it comes to, all kinds of things like stipends and scholarships and just all kinds of different things. So I think this was a decent compromise because those 65 teams, I believe, were threatening to leave the NCAA and saying, hey, either you let us...
That was a real threat.
Yeah, you let us be autonomous. You let us make up our own rules. You let us, we're not comparing apples to apples when we talk about Central Michigan and Alabama when it comes to football.
Right. That's right.
We're not comparing apples to apples. You need to allow us to compare apples to apples or we're going to break away. And I think that everybody said...
Yeah, the NCAA wanted to get in front of that. Now, what I think is an important thing is that the 5 commissioners get together and get on the same page with this. Because what you don't want to see is the SEC paying players a certain number and then the Big 12 paying players a little less because that's going to affect recruiting. And when that happens, it's going to turn into a professional league really fast.
Yeah, and I think that's why they came up with the maximum stipend. And I'm sure there's some kinks they have to work out. Ultimately, though, when you look at, an SEC school that has 17 sports, and you look at Michigan State that has 25 sports, and Michigan has, 29, I believe, or 32 sports, there's just going to be competitive imbalance. There are going to be schools down south that will put more money towards football.
Yeah, for sure.
Up here is just not done that way.
But see, right now with the scholarships, you're not seeing the numbers, but, a kid that's from Iowa City that goes to Iowa, his scholarship isn't worth the same as a kid from New York that goes to Stanford, right? If you think about the dollar amounts, it's not the same. But now when you talk about the actual net effect that is going to be paid to a player, it's going to be different. We hope it's not because that will change the minds of some recruits and their families, funneling them to a certain school based on the income they can generate.
Can't. I mean, there's just no way in the world that a Big Ten player stipend can be $3,000 and the SEC be $5,000. Yeah, you're right. That'll be a big trouble. You're heading down a pathway you don't want to go. But I mean, let's not kid ourselves. When it comes to college athletics, is a big business.
Huge.
And while we call these kids student athletes, and I believe at Michigan State, a lot of our coaches, they really do take that term, student athlete.
Oh, yeah, to heart.
To heart. And even Michigan, I saw Brady Hoke graduated 69 of his 69 seniors.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah, that is. I mean, think about that. Think about what Michigan has done. That's absolutely remarkable.
That's right.
We get caught up in the wins and losses and recruits and all the big money stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, what are we there for? Right? These kids, these kids graduating, to have 69 of your kids walk out the door that came through that door with a degree, it says a lot. You know, it says a lot. And I mean, if you look at Michigan State, when you when you understand their athletic department and how much money and resources are spent on tutors and player development and health and wellness and preparing our kids for the next phase of their life, you know, you realize that they're doing a lot more than just put your helmet on.
That's right.
And go play.
Yeah, it matters in the Big Ten. I love that about the Big Ten. And you look at some schools in the SEC, it doesn't get a lot of press, but like Georgia, for instance, I mean, they've had 23 off-the-field criminal, charges against players in the last 4 years, and that's okay, down there. If that happened in the Big Ten, I mean, they'd be calling for a coach's head. Clearly, it's just a difference in philosophy.
It is a difference. Even down south, their one-year scholarships.
Yeah.
They will tell a kid, hey,
we're
not renewing your scholarship. Mm-hmm. That never happens in the Big Ten.
No.
That's not, and you look at, and a lot of that has to do with the integration of these schools academically.
Absolutely.
They do a lot of, I was asking the Big Ten commissioner once, who came to speak to our board at MSU. I said, why do you see teams from the Big 12 defecting to other schools? You see teams from the Big East, ACC leaving, but we never hear about the Big Ten breaking up. We never hear about Illinois threatening to go here or Minnesota threatening to go here. And he said it's because the schools are integrated academically, that they do so much collaboration when it comes to academics and research and just all kinds of collaboration academically, have these schools ingrained with each other that you're never going to hear of a Big Ten school. And I thought that was very interesting, that there's so much collaboration at even he talked about Michigan State. President Simon always talks about her relationship with President Coleman, former President Coleman, and the collaboration that Michigan and Michigan State have and all the stuff they do together in terms of research and all kinds of different projects, and we get hung up with what's happening on the basketball field or the football field. We forget, that these are two sister.
The stuff that kind of really matters.
Yeah, a little bit more. These are sister institutions, that really work together in collaboration. You look at down in at the University Research Corridor down in the Wayne State, where Michigan State, Michigan, and Wayne State have done over $5 billion of collaboration, of research-funded grants and activities. It's just really,
that's amazing.
It's eye-opening. It really is eye-opening, and I think it says a lot about. I think it says a lot about the Big Ten and how we value academics, how we take the role of the student athlete. A lot more serious than maybe some other places.
It's not just a semi-pro league.
It's not. It's not just a semi-pro league. So It's funny. We're gonna have to watch this NCAA thing, this Ed O'Bannon ruling. I know that it was a 99-page ruling, which some wasn't really clear. Some pieces were not really clear. But you're right. That stipend is a slippery slope, and it's got to be the same across the board for all of these schools.
It does.
It really does. So any Pistons talk today? Anything new going on with the Pistons? Anything new going on with the Red Wings? It's football season, isn't it?
Yeah, it's football season, baseball season.
Wings.
Yeah, we got the new stadium coming in downtown.
A lot of development, a lot of public money. Illich is earned for some money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about the Lions? Lions kicked off, opened up training camp. I saw Calvin Johnson didn't play.
Yeah, he doesn't need to play. I mean, you don't want Calvin Johnson, God forbid, to get hurt in the
NFL preseason. I'm sorry, 4 games, absolute waste. 2 games maximum.
Yeah.
They waste a lot of time, energy. That's why a lot of those guys, the seniors, the veterans, will hold out.
Yeah,
they equate.
They don't want to go through camp. That's true.
That one tackle for Seattle, remember, was it Walter Jones? I believe he held out like 15 straight camps. He said he added 5 years extra on his playing career.
And first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, by just not battling each other. But the Lions are here.
Yeah, they are. And then
eternal optimism in Detroit, huh?
Eternal optimism.
Coach Caldwell.
They opened up and saw the debut of Johnny Football from Cleveland.
Oh, man, that's another. Johnny Football, that's another topic that we're going to have to get to at a later show. Yeah. So thank you once again for joining us. For my co-hosts, Vern, Crump, and Jason Strayhorn, I'm Brian Mossallam, and you're watching Beyond the Highlights.